Hi, this week I am answering Salvador's question. And he asked, do you believe the EU should follow a more Europhile ideology, giving the EU Parliament more power to make decisions over all EU nations? If so, why? And I think that's a spot on question for the topic this week. I think that pretty much gets right to the sort of heart of it. And my opinion on it is probably a little biased, being, you know, American, and being pretty fond of the way as a at least in principle, that the American government is set up. Um, the sort of federalist, the federal government overseeing the collection of states that we have, yet with each state largely retaining its, you know, sovereignty, if you will, the ability to govern itself. So I think that the EU should, rather than be bound by its history and its culture, which is rich and strong and much more extensive than America's. Um, I think that they should possibly look to see what is possibly going to be the future as opposed to what has been the past. I mean, so the past can be used as a roadmap for the future to avoid the pitfalls of the past. So I think that their past can be very useful in that sense, but I don't think that they should necessarily go the route of governing all EU nations as if they were one nation. What works for France very well may not work for Germany. So I think that there should be some retention of states, the country's own ability to govern itself. Whether that's some democratic means within in each individual country itself, or that's somehow established within the EU. I don't think it necessarily matters, but I think it is important for the states, or keep saying states, excuse me, for the countries in the EU to have some ability to govern themselves, and that it's not all one large legislative body, regulating the decisions for all countries in the Union. Thanks for your question, Salvador.